I didn't plan on ruining their wedding. Not at first. But when I watched the groom's smile die, right as I handed him the same type of envelope they once gave me on my birthday, I realized some endings write themselves. And some people earn them. The bride's mascara was already bleeding down her face when I stepped forward. The crowd fell quiet, the way people do when they sense a storm forming behind a smile. In my hand, one envelope. In his hand, trembling now, their gift to me, returned in poetic symmetry. He looked at me like I'd set fire to his perfect day. Maybe I had. But I hadn't started the fire. They had. I used to trust my family. Stupid, I know. I grew up believing we were tight in a way most families weren't. Sunday dinners. Helping each other renovate houses. Lending money without contracts because family is different. I believed them. Even when things got tight for me financially, after the layoff, after the medical bills they pretended to care about, they still insisted I lean on them. You're one of us, they'd say. And I believed that too. I shouldn't have. The eviction notice came wrapped in silver paper. They even tied a ribbon around it. Pretty bow for an ugly truth. I unfolded the paper slowly, thinking it was some kind of joke. It wasn't. My parents, my siblings. They stood there smiling as I read the words telling me to vacate the house I owned, the one they'd helped me with years ago by adding their names to the deed. Just until you get back on your feet, they'd said. Turns out they'd planned the moment I'd fall. My sister laughed first. We thought it'd motivate you, she said. Like she hadn't just lit my life on fire. They wanted the house. They wanted me gone. And they didn't even bother to hide it. I felt the betrayal rise in my throat like smoke. But I swallowed it. Because I don't explode. I calculate. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. I simply nodded. Smiled. Closed the envelope. And said, "Thank you." The room went still, confused. They expected a meltdown. They didn't realize they'd just handed me the very weapon I needed. I moved out without complaint. I disappeared from group chats. I didn't show up to dinners. But I watched. I listened. I read every financial document they'd been careless enough to leave behind. And I hired the best real estate attorney in the state. One who enjoyed tearing apart sloppy paperwork more than practicing yoga. Their filings were a disaster. Signatures missing, forged in places, timelines out of order, dates that proved they'd moved to evict me before I even fell behind on payments. I didn't need revenge. I needed patience, because their wedding was coming up, and everyone they cared about would be there. Perfect stage. Perfect audience. Step 1. Transfer the newly returned deed to my name only. Easy given the fraud. Step 2. Freeze their access to the property they'd been using as collateral. Step 3. Subpoena delivered to the groom's workplace. Step 4. My personal favorite. Notify the wedding venue that the bride's family no longer had legal access to the estate they'd promised as collateral for the event. They kept the wedding on the calendar anyway. Arrogance is a hell of a drug. I waited, watched, prepared the final envelope. The one I gave them today. The tent was decorated in white roses and expensive delusion. The bride walked down the aisle trembling. Not out of joy. She knew something was wrong. I had made sure of that. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, I didn't speak. I stepped forward instead and handed the groom the envelope. He looked down. Read the first line. His face drained. His voice cracked. This is an eviction notice. Not for me. For them. Their house. The one they stole from me. Legally reclaimed, titled, and locked. Effective immediately. The crowd erupted in whispers. The bride's mother lunged forward like she could snatch the words back. Too late. They all stared at me. Confused, furious, terrified. I simply smiled. The groom stammered. You can't do this today. I leaned in, voice calm. You did it on my birthday. His knees weakened. The bride sobbed, clutching his arm like he could save her. He couldn't even save himself. I left before the chaos peaked. Before the vendors learned they weren't getting paid. Before the venue manager told them they had 30 minutes to vacate the property. Before the guests realized they were witnessing a meltdown instead of a marriage. I walked out into the sunlight lighter than I'd felt in years. Justice isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. Sometimes it's just an envelope, delivered at the perfect moment, to the people who taught you exactly how to use it. And as I drove away, I realized something. They thought they'd taken everything from me, but all they really gave me was clarity.